Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This morning's learning is dedicated in memory of all those who have Yortzeit, all the Yortzeits that we have today in our community, as well as all those that we are saying Kaddish for. Good morning, Estelle. Good morning, Rachel. And a Shabbat Shalom to everyone. And of course, as Rachel said so correctly, our thoughts, our minds, our prayers are with the people of Ukraine. Good morning, Richard. So let me share with you a little thought relating to this week's Torah portion, this week's Parsha. Good morning, Peter. And the thought is as follows. The last few Parshas, the last few chapters that we've been reading, are all about the tabernacle, the house of God that we built, the home we build together, in the words of Rabbi Sachs. And we know that when it comes to Shabbat, so the tabernacle, however important it is, yet the keeping of Shabbat is of paramount importance. Nothing overrides that idea, that concept, that notion of Shabbos. So the question is, what exactly was the idea of the whole of the tabernacle, and why is it that on Shabbat it wouldn't override it if it's of such significance, a house of God, a conduit between us and the Almighty? Let's go back. How did we ever arrive at where we are in this week's Parsha? So we know that there was a story of the golden calf. Jewish people wanted to express their love for God, wanted an intermediary. Moshe was up the mountain, and therefore they came up with this idea of the golden calf. Many wonder, what's the difference ultimately between the sin of the golden calf and the tabernacle? They're very similar, aren't they? Made of gold. It's a physical object that is able to be a conduit for the Jewish people to connect to God. What's the difference? And there is only one small difference, friends. And you know what that difference is? One, God told us to do, and the other, we told ourselves that we should do it. The difference is between whether it's what we want or what God wants. And the whole idea of the tabernacle was meant to be an olam katan, a small world, a miniature microcosm of the world outside, a place where of perfection, idealism, the place where God's presence would rest in the world. And therefore it was after the sin of the golden calf, on the behest of God, the command of God, we were to build or rebuild this world together. In other words, the world as we knew it needed to be decreated and recreated. The golden calf broke, the relationship. There was a severance. There was a strain in that relationship, that bond. The whole point of creation was for that seminal moment in history of the Ten Commandments, divine revelation, marriage between the Jewish people and God. And then we betrayed that trust that God had placed in us. And therefore there was a need to repair that strained relationship between us and God. How did that occur? It's when we build something, we make something at God's request in the way that he wants, for him, with him. And that is really what it's all about. And it's to have in difficult times, it's really, as the Jewish people were experiencing, Moshe was up the mountain, they didn't know what was going to be, tremendous uncertainty. We find ourselves in a similar situation to the Jewish people back then. We need that stability. We're all craving certainty, and we need an olam katan, a miniature world, a place where we can feel safe, secure, where we can feel a sense of connection, of meaning, of fulfillment. How do we achieve that? Whereas it used to be a matter of the Jewish people connecting through Moshe with God, whereas it used to be through the tabernacle. Nowadays, we don't have a tabernacle. But the Jewish home, we are told, is an olam katan. It's the home that we build where God's presence rests in our midst, if we build it correctly. I'm not talking about the house. I'm talking about the home. I'm talking about your flats. I'm talking about your houses, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. You look at a home and what is it? Bricks, mortar, that's the house. The home is when you place that mezuzah on the door. The home is when you have your Shabbat meals, you light Shabbos candles. Your home is where you place that menorah in the window. The home is where you celebrate Rosh Hashanah with your family and friends. Your home is where you invite people in. You invite people in to support them, to care for them, to nurture them. That is what a home is. It's exactly like the Mishkan. It's a vestibule, a conduit for the divine presence, for God to be able to rest in this world. If we want to feel godly, we've got to make our lives godly. How do we do that? By turning our house into a home, by filling it with meaning, significance, and faith. And I think that there has never been a greater need and a greater opportunity than in the current climate that we find ourselves. Last night, can you believe it? There was an attack on the nuclear reactor, the shooting and firing missiles around a nuclear reactor. If ever there was a dereliction of duty, of responsibility, of care, of concern, that was it. And therefore now it's in even greater need for each and every one of us to come closer, to tighten the bond between ourselves and the bond between ourselves and God. And if we are able to do so, I can assure you, we'll see great things. And please God, an end to all this pain and sorrow, peace in our time, and for the people of Ukraine. Amen. We move on to Psalm 23. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to those that I haven't said good morning to for a while. David, Rachel, Caroline, Clarice, Peter, etc., and everyone who's joining us. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, or fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forevermore. Memorial prayer. Shachuri olamam manabarachamim nazrim zaysekanafechali olamim v'tischais nishmasam yanucha mishmasam v'shalom v'namar amen. Mi sheber hachamzein ramim zayyakom mosharon david shalom v'varach rab v'sachilim ba'avu shana mispalim ba'avu ram v'zchazek kadosh baruch hu yimalei rachim aleichem lachem olafosam v'yishlach leim afush leim neshama lechem v'lecharim v'sashach Yisrael refuas hanefesh refuas haku v'ashar ba'agados ma'karif v'namar amen. Wish everyone well. Big mazel tov to my colleague and dear friend, Rabbi Liss, if he's watching, who's making a bas mitzvah this Shabbat in Highgate Shul. We wish him a big mazel tov, and in his completion of the whole of the Talmud Bavli last night, wonderful celebration. And please God, look forward to seeing everyone 9:30 this coming Sunday. This Friday night in Shul, we're traveling to France, metaphorically, and we'll be hearing from our wonderful guest speaker, Rabbi Golka, from Hasmonean High School fame. He'll be speaking to us about Rashi, about French Jews, and we'll be tasting the wonderful cheeses and croissant and wine, French wine. That's all Kiddush tonight. Looking forward to it. Should be a very special occasion. Thank you to our anonymous sponsor. And then we look forward to the Morgenstein Bar Mitzvah, the Shabbat. And it goes on and it goes on. As well, you know, Monday night is the anti-missionary talk in conjunction with the JC, in conjunction with Bushy and the United Synagogue. Huge event, which I'm honored to be hosting. And please join us. That's online in the usual places. Take care. Have a great day. Have a great Shabbos. Keep safe. Keep well. Please God, we'll see peace in Ukraine very soon.